Hey y'all, welcome and welcome back. I am Eva, and this here is the Deaux. Welcome to my tribe.
We were sure, and I must have been blind just to think I'd find someone new, one who loved me better than you. Well, it made it home as a surprise. Loneliness has opened my eyes. I tried every love I could find. Still I can't get you out of my mind. 'Cause there's no one in the world to love. No one in the world's gonna move me. No one in the world can love me like you do, baby. Every time.
Alright y'all, it's spooky season. Spooky season is amongst us, and I scoured the internet to try to find some real stories about different things around the world. Now, everybody has their own belief system, and I'm not going to be the person that's going to get in the way of it. You believe what you want to believe, my love. So, I'm basically just saying, these are different stories, and I don't know if I believe them 100%. I think that we should just be cautiously optimistic about all of it. And if something is real, it's real. If it's not, it's not. I'm not really gonna be here to debunk anything. I'm just gonna give my commentary. So let's get started. Here we go, y'all.
Is this the entrance to the Upside Down?
Not the Stranger Things background music. I love me some Stranger Things, yeah. It's one of my favorites.
Give y'all a warning before you come to the city of New Orleans for Mardi Gras, you hear me? Everything is sectioned off. Don't be all back there in Bourbon, French Quarters, looking for something, and then you run into something else, you hear me? Because that's how it is in the city. We got witches over here, we got your vampires over there, we got your werewolves over there, rainbows over there, this over here, you hear me? Like, everything is sectioned off, so it's a place of culture, baby. Don't come over there and you thinking you just about to be dancing, you heard me, drinking your little drink, you heard me, and then next thing you know, you run into something crazy. You better be aware, baby. It's like vortexes down there. Quantum physics.
I believe that. I don't know what you believe in, but I know that energy doesn't go anywhere. It just transfers to something different. So from that same logic, I know that if there were beings that were living that were in bondage or that was treated poorly, that spirit is still gonna be roaming the earth, because it's not at ease. So with that being said, you go to a place where people have been tortured and treated unkind, you're going to end up in a place where there are people that want to do you harm. I think it has a lot to do with your intentions. I think it has a lot to do with your intentions, but I also think it has a lot to do with your background and your history and your ancestors. So if you know for a fact your ancestors was doing some ill shit, don't you take your ass to New Orleans. And if you do go, you better find a local that you can go with, that you can trust. And that's going to be hard. Definitely.
It's happening down there. You go in one spot and you wound up in the other, you hear me? Mirror dimensions is happening down there. Be careful, bro. Stop thinking everything is cute and... You feel me? Don't come out down here with all that, I promise you. It's going to be some problems.
Greetings, it's Bloody Mary, and follow me to liminal places. Follow me to the crossroads. Let's go up the stairway to heaven, to the other side. Is this a portal? Tell me, what do you see?
So, being raised how I was always raised to know that graveyards are always going to be a very powerful place, powerful in the spirits. I know, like, I've seen people practice witchcraft and hoodoo and voodoo when I was growing up, when I was coming up, and one of the things that they used to use was, like, if you were bothering somebody, like, let us say you have an enemy and you know where your enemy lives at, and they and you want to cause chaos to them, so you want to cause chaos to another person, what they usually do is they'll go to the graveyard, they get a shovel and they'll get a little bit of graveyard dirt, and then they'll sprinkle it, throw it in front of your house or your dwelling or your place of business or whatever, and they do that so that you can have confusion. Like that carries a lot of confusion because of where you're getting the dirt from. I don't believe in that. But to each his own. But you gotta know that once you unleash something, it's gonna work both ways. It's not, anytime you do a spell or any type of root work, you have to know that it can come back on you. Love spells, regular like spells, money spells, if it works to give you love, it can also work to do the opposite. And the bad thing about love spells is that a lot of people do love spells, but they don't understand what they're doing. When you do a love spell, you are amplifying this person's emotion for you. So let's just say, like, you're doing a love spell because you feel like this person is not caring enough, doesn't love you enough, or whatever the case may be. Well, now you're just adding jealousy. You're adding physical abuse to it, because these people are going to be obsessed with you, and they're not going to understand why they're so obsessed with you if they didn't already feel that way. And that's going to come out, and they're going to love you hard, but then it also ends up with people getting killed. A lot of domestic violence happens because of it. So once you open a gate or open a portal, you have to understand that it can work both ways. Same thing with money. So if you're praying to get money and do a money ritual, well, you have to know that it could also be to your detriment, and you can lose all your money. So before you play with the spirits, you really need to know what you're doing, because especially if you don't know, like, if you don't know what you're doing, or if you're going to somebody that you don't know that's doing it, you're going to somebody for some root work, but you don't know them, so you don't know their intentions, you don't know what their heart is like, you don't know their relationships that they have to your ancestors, to their ancestors, because whenever you're doing root work, you're doing work that is conjuring the spirits of your ancestors to do the work for you. And the person that's going to be doing your work is also going to be working with their ancestors. So you have to remember that when you try to conjure up and do root work on something or somebody.
Second sight will let you read between the lines, and there are certain places that leave traces of those who came before. Follow me.
My brother just took this in. Hold on. It says, go away. My brother just took this in Louisiana. What the fuck is that? It looks like an open portal. Let's look. Oh, I guess it's just like an uneven plane of grass. How is that a portal? Is it doing something? Oh, I see it. Oh, wow.
Daniel?
What is that? Oh, wow, what is that? That look creepy as hell. What is that like? It look like that could be like an airplane or something, but what is that shadow thing? What is that? That's crazy. When a TikTok witch opens up a portal they can't close, and an intranquil spirit shows up. Wait, what? Baby, get out that house.
Holy shit.
That dog's scared. Get out the house. Get off the corner.
Second oldest oak, held up by telephone poles. It's about 750 years old. I call this one the mama. Over here, on the other side over there, is Papa. And the place and points in between. That's Papa over there. And this crepe myrtle is thick with moss.
I love seeing those trees. I think, like, okay, so growing up, when I was living, I was living with my entire family. Like my mom and my dad was living together. And we had a house. We had a house in Elson. I don't know if you're from Baton Rouge, you know where Elson is. It's like on the outskirts of Baton Rouge. It's like before you get to Baker. It's like kind of corner to, I want to say, Scotlandville. We had trees in the backyard, and our trees had that moss on it, and it was like, it looked just like that. And we would always go play. I always wanted to touch it, but I didn't want to touch it because it was kind of creepy a little bit. But when we played outside, they had those. And then when I started to watch like Eve's Bayou, that was a part of Eve's Bayou, and it always fascinated me, like, how does this grow? How does this moss grow on this tree like that to make it look like that? But now I just appreciate the aesthetic. I'm in Southern California now, and they don't have any trees that grows moss like this, so I do miss it. Definitely do. But you'll see these around bayous. You'll see these in like the foresty areas and stuff like that. They just grow everywhere.
In the circle of oaks. This was one of the ceremonial places yesteryear of the local indigenous.
There are a lot of reasons why New Orleans is one of the most haunted cities in America. One of the biggest reasons why is simply the water, particularly the Mississippi River. Water is a natural conductor for paranormal energy. Being that New Orleans is located at the end of the river where it meets the Gulf, all of this paranormal energy from the continent flows down and winds up here. But that's not the only thing that has come down the river and wound up here. By the mid-1800s, word had begun to spread around the country in the supernatural communities about all the opportunity that lie in New Orleans. 1852 saw the arrival of one of the most prominent ghost families out of Tennessee, Cain and Lilith Demonson and their children. Soon after, other prominent ghost families from the north, like the Beelzebubs, the prominent Spectre family from New York, and the Swayzes from Chicago followed suit. Over the next century, hauntings would become big business in New Orleans, and today is one of our biggest tourist attractions. Many of these ghosts have gotten very, very rich over the years.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Main spirits would be Papa Legba, who's the intermediary between the metaphysical world and the physical world. You have Dambala, who is the spiritual sovereign or the highest spiritual deity of voodoo. You have Ogun, which is the spirit of war. And you have Baron Samedi, which is the spirit of the dead in magic.
The African concept of death is not finite like it can be in some terms of the West, because people in the West sometimes tend to view death as being a period, punctually, whereas Africans tend to view death as being a comma, a brief respite and a continuation of the same thought on the other side.
And the African has, according to voodoo, has managed to master the spiritual plane in order to manipulate things on the physical plane. So in voodoo, the dead are not dead. There are living spirits without bodies. And that heaven and hell are not, heaven is not in the sky, hell is not on earth. It's right within the same dimension. So the reality is multi-dimensional.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, the original post is gone, but I'm going to explain what they called card shuffling. This is a freaky phenomenon that happens.
So I learned about card shuffling, honestly, for the first time about like a week ago. I've been watching a lot more spiritual things, because I kind of want to, like I'm on this, like this, I guess you could say, knowledge journey. I want to learn whatever it is that I can learn about whatever it is I can learn. So I've just been watching a whole bunch of different things. So like I told y'all before, I watch that YouTube channel called Next Pro, and that's more of intellectual based discrepancies. And then I like to watch the Cauldron, the Cauldron, I think it's called. It's a black lady. She is I guess spiritual, and I don't know if she's a healer. I know she's like a tarot card reader, and so she'll have different like videos from TikTok or her own little stories about different spiritual things. And then there's another girl. So I've been watching a lot of people, and I seen this one thing. It was called the Cauldron had a video called New Orleans is a Portal, and then it had all kind of different TikTok videos on there, people explaining what different things, I guess you can say, magical things that were going on in New Orleans. And card shuffling came up, and so I'm thinking card shuffling because I know tarot card readers, I know card readers, I know palm readers, and they will always shuffle the cards and make you pick one out and then shuffle them or whatever. Then they throw it out so they can see, so they can reach, start your reading. And that's not what they meant. Card shuffling is something different. It's mysterious, and I'll let her go into it and explain what it is.
New Orleans, and I read in my comments somebody said that they experienced it also in Savannah, Georgia, where you're almost damn sure that you were just in a business or a bar or a shop, and later you find out that it never existed or it completely disappears. And a lot of people say that they've experienced this. New Orleans already has a rich history, culture, tradition, some of which is deeply rooted in the paranormal. So that tends to make New Orleans, and one of the most famous places in New Orleans, the French Quarter, a hot spot for paranormal activity, with people who are drawn to either experience their own paranormal activity or debunk it. So whether you're a believer or a skeptic, I think it's something that you have to experience yourself when you travel to New Orleans.
Yeah, that's different. I'm not.
Y'all, witchcraft will literally change your entire appearance.
She's not lying. The effects of magic on your physical appearance is truly one of a kind. Most people think that you'll have an adverse effect if you start practicing magic, but if you're doing glamour magic, it's the exact opposite. Glamour magic is really powerful because it actually allows you to shine an inner light from the inside out, right? So people are seeing not only your physical beauty, but your soul. And that shit doesn't change, right? Like, it doesn't change if you take your makeup off or you put on a different outfit, if you're wearing sweats. It's imbued in your aura. Glamour magic also helps you to like clear out people who are haters too. Like, if you've been around people who really play small and kind of expect you to play small too, once you start doing this work, it'll be very clear as day to see who's on your team and who's just there because you make them feel better when you're not in your power. So
Never.
Now, you may not believe it, but the myth of vampires in New Orleans is...
So, last week was the first time that I heard about vampires being a thing, and I think in New Orleans. So apparently, there was these. It was like a group of. I think they said it was like 3 vampires. They ended up somewhere in New Orleans. I think it was like a church. They ended up going to a church, and the nuns at the church, I guess, wanted to, take care of them. They seen them. They looked disheveled. Their skin was looking bad and stuff like that because they had been out in the sun. So they ended up taking them to this place. I think it might have been either an abandoned church or an abandoned building, and it had 3 floors. And they put them so they the vampire girls, they had like their suitcases and stuff like that with clothes in it. So they took them in. They brought them to the 3rd floor. The 3rd floor was already like an abandoned floor that nobody really went on. So they went on the 3rd floor. They boarded up all of the windows. They boarded up all of the doors and stuff like that. And they gave them a place to stay. Then I guess they may have went in there and go and check on them after a few hours, and they didn't find them nowhere. And they already knew that they were in there because they left them in there, and they never left out, but they couldn't find them. And their luggage was still there, untouched. Well, no, I think they said the clothes were gone or something like that. So they ended up boarding off the 3rd floor, and no one ever went back up there. So it's said to say that the vampire is still there. They're just in there. They're inside the 3rd floor, and they never came out.
deeply rooted in its history and cultural lore. One of the most famous figures in New Orleans vampire lore is the Count Saint Germain, the infamous Count Saint Germain. Now, why do I say that? He's known as the man who does not die and who knows everything. People have been seeing this man roaming the French Quarter since the 18th century. New Orleans has long been associated with tales of the undead, and the myth of vampires continues to captivate locals and visitors alike. Now, this could be just adding to the aura and mystery of intrigue around New Orleans, but me personally, I choose to believe it. If you have a story or a vampire sighting in New Orleans, stitch this and let us know, because surprisingly, I don't have any vampire stories. I do have these on the long form content place if you would like to support. Thank you.
Don't underestimate the allure of darkness, Stefan. Even the purest hearts are drawn to
it. I didn't see nothing.
Alright, you guys, this is my part 2
to my New Orleans trip, and we're gonna talk about the vampires that I saw. So fast forward a bit into my trip, both of my friends got there and we decided to go out and walk Bourbon Street and just see what the nightlife was like. We ended up at this bar that had live music, and it was a pretty big space. I don't remember what it was called, I wish I did. But when you walk in, there's like the bar on the side, and then this is what caught my eye at first. There was this table in the back right corner that a lot of people were sitting at, and they were sitting like on top of the table and on the actual like benches of the table. Their vibe was completely different than everyone else's in the room. It was just kind of, the only way that I can describe it, it was like a still darkness. It was just kind of off. But there were these two guys in particular that caught my attention. One was this tall black guy, right, that was sitting on one of the table, very tall, and this other guy who was like a shorter white guy, you know, but they both looked very interesting. But I turned back towards the bar so that I can grab my drink and talk to my friend that was next to me. Tell me how, as soon as I turned around with my drink, he was standing there right in front of me, like some Twilight shit. He started talking to my friend, asking where we're from, what we were doing. Now, one of my friend's boyfriends, who actually lives in New Orleans, was with us, by the way. But anyway, this vampire dude and his tall friend convinced my friends, not me, that we needed to go to this bar. I think it's one of the oldest bars that's in New Orleans, and they have this unlisted shot that you have to ask the bartender for that's not on the menu. And as we started walking, we noticed that we're getting further and further away from, you know, Touristville. And by this time, I really wish that I could explain it, but the vibes were just so weird. They were so weird. And I told my friends pretty much that it was a really creepy vibe. Like, why do we need to go all the way out somewhere else just for a shot, you know? And on top of that, their energy was just not normal. And my friend's boyfriend agreed with me. And I specifically remember like typing out a text on my phone. And as we were walking, I showed it to my friend's boyfriend. And I straight up said, I think they're vampires. And he just looked at me like with the most serious look, like, I don't know why he didn't say anything out loud. Like, I guess maybe he didn't want to seem like the crazy one. But this is where shit started to get real. So there has to be a...
So vampires are real. By the way, my favorite vampire show is True Blood. That's why if you go on my Instagram, you'll see Suki, because Suki is my favorite character on this show. From what I remember, they can read your thoughts, they can hear your thoughts. So I'm pretty sure they know if they are vampires, that you know that they're vampires, because they know what you're thinking.
Part 3 to this, because there's no way I'm going to be able to fit it. So I'm going to post it right after this one.
I hate that.
I want y'all to check this video out, man. It's very interesting, to say the least, man. I will say this, though. I cannot confirm or deny anything that's about to get ready to be said in this video. But as always, I ask that you guys use discernment when dealing with the information. Let's go ahead and jump into it.
Kings, queens, and everybody in between. I don't know if you know or not, but there are vampires in New Orleans. Let's talk about this. So basically, if you read the Anne Rice classics, they speak of it. They speak of a place that you can go in New Orleans, a bar, where vampires reside. Now, people get it misconstrued. There are vampires that will suck, pause your blood, but that is not the only type of vampire. There are different tribes of vampires. I think the ones that do the blood, they're more ancient. You know, blood magic, blah, 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 you know, kind of coincides with that. But there are also, like energy vamps. But I didn't physically come in contact with one. However, I was in the vicinity. So basically me and a few friends of mine, I said about 4 or 5 of us, but it was only 2 of us actually venturing out. We went to a bar to get some drinks. We went to this bar, and the bartender was like super racist. It was a female. She was super racist. Like, we had to literally force our presence in her face for us to serve us a drink. And when I got my drink, I said, fuck this and this, fuck you and this drink. So I didn't pay for it. She made the drink. It was exquisite. It took her a lot of effort, and I left it there and didn't pay for it. Now, so we started looking. I'm very into, if you ever read all the Anne Rice books, you know, the ones that you know, Interview with a Vampire, Queen of the Damned, if you've read those, there is a lot of like innuendos to vampirism, real vampirism in New Orleans. Okay, and so I'm a little intoxicated. Me and a friend of mine, we're both a little intoxicated. So we said, we're going to go find this bar. Now, you really have to know New Orleans to go to one of these bars. We went to the bar, and so we both said, we're going to focus. We're going to focus on one person. Now, we didn't know, I'm pretty sure everybody that's there isn't one, but in this case, we focused on one person. Now, we were there for about 45 minutes before we got any quote-unquote action, but we picked out a guy. And the guy was like, once the guy knew that I was looking at him, he focused on me. Now, when he focused on me, I felt like I was in the bottom of a pool. Have you ever been in a pool where you don't really hear anything and you're able to hear your heartbeat? That's how I felt. And we chose to look at the same guy. So he's like, I hear my heart like, boom, doop, 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 doop. I hear my heartbeat. And I'm freaking out because I felt this way before when I was high. Okay. But it was like, I was so taken by it. I was like, you ever been like, have you ever knowingly been in a dream and you're trying to wake up?
That's like sleep paralysis. I've had that before. Just a side tidbit of information. So I've been having sleep apnea, not sleep apnea, but more like insomnia for a long time. So I always was using Benadryl. But I just watched this one show and it was saying about how Benadryl is delirium, and it's because they've never changed the formula of what Benadryl is, and it breaks through the blood-brain barrier of your brain, and that's why it causes like forgetfulness. It causes it can also drive you crazy from what I've heard if you take high doses of it, and so I think it also can cause you to have sleep paralysis if you take high doses of it. So I'm trying to get off of it. I'm trying to, but it's real hard because without taking it, I buy this. This is 600 pills. Without taking it, I won't be able to go to sleep at all. Even though I still wake up, I won't be able to sleep. And when I take something that is like stronger, then I can't even get up for work the next day. So I know I'm gonna have to eventually stop taking it because I know it's not good for me anymore. But it can cause sleep paralysis, and sleep paralysis is really scary for the person that's enduring it, because it's kind of like you are now trying to force yourself to get up, but you can't move your body, and it's kind of like you were stuck there, like somebody has you tied down and you can't get up, and that's scary. It's a scary feeling.
That was my dilemma. I was trying to wake up. I feel like I was in some type of trance because this dude, I walked around and this dude's eyes did not leave me. And this is going to be important at the end of the story. His eyes would not leave me. Like I walk around and his eyes were just staring at me heavily. And once his focus was on me, he was the only thing I saw. Pause, because that sounds kind of homo. But that was the only thing I saw. That was the only thing it's like everything else was phased out. Like looking at you're looking at a video and you know how everything glazes out and you just see that. That's all I saw. And so I felt like I was in a fucking trance, and I was trying to break out of it, like I was trying to wake up, and eventually I woke up, and when I pulled myself out of it, I heard the music, I heard the people talking, and everything. And I tapped my boy. I hit him hard as fuck, because I hit him once, he didn't respond. I hit him again, and he finally moved. When this happened, it's like he woke up out of a trance, right? So we got the fuck out of there. We got back to the hotel, and I asked him, I said, bro, are you okay? He said, yes, because I was no longer high. I was no longer drunk. I was sober as hell. I was super sober. And when this happened, we got to the place. I said, okay. So I said, we we're powwow, and we had our friends with us, and I was like, okay, so I'm gonna tell you about my experience, because they were ussies, okay? They were scared to go anyway. And so I told him about my experience. I said, dude, this dude locked his eyes on me, and he never stopped looking at me. Never stopped looking at me. And my boy said, that's fucking impossible, bro. I said, why? They said, because the guy never took his eyes off of me. Mind you, we both have the focus of this person, and he never moved his eyes from either of us. However, we're in different locations. Now, I'm not going to tell you the bar. Read the fucking book and find out for yourself. Enjoy the books, because the books, and get all the Anne Rice books, like not just the Interview with a Vampire and Queen of the Damned. I don't even think that's like the legit name for them, but that's the stories that you would know. But get the books, man. Read them. I promise you, bro, they're real. There are different versions of it, and I've heard someone say this, and it like made me like my heart skip a beat. Said there are some that really just they suck up, pause your energy, positive energy, sexual energy, bad energy. You name it, they can suck it. Pause. But man, cucumbers taste better pickled, man. But be careful. Stay dangerous.
I will say this, man. I've said it once and I'll say it again, man. There is a such thing as energy vampires. There are specific people out here that specifically feed off.
Yeah. And it wasn't until I literally started YouTube that I knew what energy vampire was. And I don't think that they have to be technically vampires. I think that it's a term that can also be vampires, but I think it's people that just see that you're thriving, see that you are making a positive impact, and they just want to take your energy from you. They just want to take your energy from you. So, be careful. Don't let them take your energy from you. Now, when I get those types of comments that I know are trying to solicit a response from me, they get one. And they usually say, I'm sorry. And that's how it is. That's sad. Be right back. I hope you enjoyed the content that I just provided to you. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, because I need that for the algorithm. And like, share, and subscribe to the creators of the content. They also need it. Also, their information will be in the description part of this video. Y'all be easy and stay dangerous, my nigga.